Morrison County Board of Adjustment public hearing for September 17th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in at the door if you have not already done so. There you will find a detailed handout of the step-by-step procedure we will follow tonight. If you wish to take one, please put any electronic devices on a silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. Members of the Board of Adjustment are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners. It's one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Services staff is here to assist the Board of Adjustment with its duties. The task of the Board of Adjustment is to consider requests for variances and appeals from an order, requirement, or decision made by a county zoning official in accordance with the state law and county ordinance. Each request is considered on its own merit. The burden of proving a practical difficulty rests with the applicant. If a variance is granted, it is granted to the land, not to the landowner. There's a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each variance request on the agenda, we will hear a staff report, testimony from the applicants, and the board will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this request. I will ask each party to come to the podium, state their name and address for the record, and give their testimony. Please be as factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to me. After all testimony is complete, I will close the public hearing portion of the process. The board will then review and discuss the case in terms of our finding of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We will have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made, and have a final motion to approve or deny the request based on those findings. After this final vote on your request, you may leave if you wish. So we have one agenda item on the for this evening's Board of Adjustment meeting. Michael Lukonic, 33012 West Chaminade Drive, Motley, Minnesota, 56466. Application for a variance to add onto a garage onto a home within the setback of the road right-of-way in Scandia Valley Township. Sir, could you please come up and state your name for the record?
My name is Michael Lukonic.
Thank you, sir. Miss Amy?
I'm ready, Mr. Chair. And just one correction, this is a variance to construct a dwelling addition within setback to the property line, not within road right-of-way, so we're only considering the property line tonight. And that's located in section 17 of Scandia Valley Township. The ordinance reference for this is 706.1B, and that requires a 10-foot side yard setback. And here is a plat map of Scandia Valley Township, and the red dot is the location of the parcel. And then here is the variance application submitted by the applicant. And then some site drawings and survey drawings also provided by the applicant. Then here's a photo of the parcel outlined in blue, and then some oblique imagery of the parcel as well. And then here are some site photos taken at the site viewing. Again, the property is in section 17 of Scandia Valley Township within the 7th Chaminade Park subdivision. This subdivision was established in 1966. The lot is a conforming triplex lot size, which means it's at least 120,000 square feet and 375 feet wide. The lot is 400 feet wide and 160,000 square feet. This is a corner lot with West Chaminade Drive running north and south, and 330th, which is County Road 203, running east and west. According to the assessor's records, an 816 square foot dwelling built in 1961 exists on the property, along with a detached 480 square foot garage. The applicant purchased this property in 2005. In 2020, the applicant requested a variance to construct an attached garage within setback to the road right-of-way. The request was denied primarily because there was uncertainty where the property line and platted road locations were. Since that request, the applicant has gotten the property surveyed and has consulted Scandia Valley Township. West Chaminade Drive is a platted road within the 7th addition to Chaminade Park. It was not placed on the section line, which created a gap between the platted road and the applicant's property. And then here is a letter from Scandia Valley Township kind of explaining all of that, and that was located or included in your packet as well. The applicant is proposing to construct a 22 by 24 attached garage onto the northwest side of the existing home. The garage would be completely on the applicant's property. However, a corner of the garage will encroach 4 feet into the setback from the property line. The setback from the township road right-of-way will be met. There is an approximate 116,367 square foot building envelope that meets all setbacks, and then here's that drawn in. The applicable comprehensive land use plan goals is residential goal B2, objectives 1 and 2, shoreline development goal D1. 140 notices were sent. One comment was received before the hearing, and that was from Jerome Satzer, and he stated that he is in favor of the request and that the applicant has been wanting a garage for years. Okay, and then here are your finding of fact and decision questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Miss Amy. Sir, anything to add?
Excuse me. It's actually 26 by 24, not 22 by 24. The drawings would reflect that. When we get to the practical difficulty, do you want me to address that at this point?
Sure.
Okay. One of the practical difficulties is that how the house is located. If the garage were to go along that side of the house, so it should be the northeast side, there is a well there that would be covered up. You want me to point that out?
We were all on site there for last Friday, the 13th. Oh, Marv was not. So yes, please, go ahead.
Sure. Everything is angled. The house is angled on there. The well is right back here, so if I set a garage in this location, it would be covering up that well. So the proposed location is out this way.
Mr. Chair,
Marv.
I remember seeing this piece of property years ago when you came in for the variance, and Russ Nygren and I were out there at the same time, and we, if you remember correctly, we're laying boards and with tape measures, and there was a lot of unknown area, and when it came to 4 feet, and when you came to here at the meeting, I think it was up to 9 feet, maybe more, so that's probably the reason for the denial. And I had emergency come up that I couldn't make it, but I do remember it very well from that, so thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Marv.
Additionally, the beacon mapping isn't quite accurate to reality. The property line on the west side is significant. If it was out there, we wouldn't have much of a problem at all. But there's approximately, you guys were there, you saw the 17 to 20 feet that's not accounted for.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
All right, yep.
so Mike, where is your septic system located also? If you want to point that out, please.
I would love to. Comes out this way and runs out here.
It'll be northeast.
The holding tank or the collection device is out here, and then the field runs out that way.
Okay, thank you. That's what I suspected. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to stay open here for board comment question.
Mr. Chair,
But
okay, just one thing, Marv, you weren't there Friday, but
they did an excellent job, or the applicant did, with the township, come out. They actually roped that all off, so we had actual measurements. They had the road right away, they had the property lines, actually had strings up and ropes, and that was all figured out, so that was very helpful for us to see
That
that.
was there to trip or confuse you.
No, that helped us a lot. So I just want to let you know that, yes, that with the township official being out there and talking with us, it explained a lot. It helped us when we could see that. And then, so if this would go through, the driveway's gonna be in, the new driveway, you want to point where that is?
Current driveway comes in this way and out that way or whatever,
Yeah.
but, when the garage comes in, this driveway will be abandoned. And the driveway will be more in like this.
Yeah.
With a turnaround up here. And that would get this access onto the road way away from this corner. Sometimes people come around this way. You can see all right this way, but, looking behind yourself. And snow removal, they've been working real hard on pushing the snow over this way. Now they can just run it up. By getting the driveway away from the intersection.
So, yeah, so them are all good points that we got to witness at the site viewing. And, that driveway getting closed in the corner, that's a win. Like I said, not too many people put up the ropes and all that. That was very helpful. That's just what I had for comments. I didn't really have a lot of questions. Everything I kind of was concerned about, I got answered at the site visit from observations.
Mr. Chair,
Marv?
Amy, do you have pictures from there that show the rope and how that's laid out there too?
I don't know if he did.
I didn't see that on the.
Right.
Mr. Chair, I was not at the viewing, so I'll show you what I do have. It looks like there's a rope here.
There's one here, or go, if you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
You can go, yes, point, there's a rope at that flag, and then there's one also at the road right away.
So the setback comes from this point over here, across, and through to about this tree. Behind that tree is the road right-of-way, 33-foot setback. The 30-foot setback then, excuse me, here's my property line, which runs approximately through here. And the 33-foot setback is here.
Okay.
Or the 30-foot from the 33-foot setback, setback from right-of-way.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Yep.
So what it boils down to on this is that the road was, there's a piece of land in there that is no man's land, basically. The road right-of-way is 33 feet from the center line, then there's somewhere between, 17 and 23 feet that's nobody really owns. So I guess the township probably owns it, I don't know. But somebody, there's those kind of things all over in the county, but, so that's kind of what boils down to, is that it's a no man's land.
So, Mr. Chair, with that comment that George made, if that no man's land would have been part of his property, he would meet all the setbacks.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to concur it, so.
Mr.
thank you.
Chair,
Yep. Brent?
back to Marvin's question, if you switch your packet to this page right here, that's actually got some pretty good measurements that are consistent with what we saw out there with the string lines laid out and the proposal of the garage and the new driveway entrance.
And Marv, also, Dan from the township was out there. And for the township, they could abandon that piece of land, or, well, it's not abandoned, it's not vacated. And they've just chose not to do it because they got parcels like that all over in the township that could be vacated.
Okay, I get it.
Any comments, more comments, questions for the applicant? Okay, hearing none, we're going to open up this portion of the meeting to the audience. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak to this request, please go up to the podium, microphone, state your name and address for the record, and your comment or question.
Russ Snygren, 8735 340th Street, Cushing, Minnesota. I'm one of the supervisors on the township and was delegated to come and speak on behalf of support. We spent a lot of time. He's very cooperative. It's a very unique situation. When they platted the road in that plat, they put it all on the east side of the section line. The road went in on the section line, so 33 feet's on the west side of the section line, 66 feet of right-of-way on the east side adjacent to his house. When you have right-of-way, government, you kind of hang on to it. So we said we want to keep that right-of-way, ever need of telecommunication, whatever. If he can use that to meet his criteria to be able to properly use his property, we were all in support of it and would recommend that if you can make it work, we would support it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, you got to ask 3 times. Time number 2, anybody in the audience wishing to speak to this request? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this request? We will now close this portion of the meeting to the public and come back to the board here for any final comments before we discuss the finding of fact criteria questions.
Mr. Chair?
Clint.
I just have one clarification again for the applicant. So you stated the garage was 26 by 24, not 22 by 24? So 26 by 24, and that's still, it's what the measurements were, it's still 4 feet encroachment. Okay.
That's correct.
Mr. Chair,
Brent.
one follow-up question for Michael. You said that the well is next to the house there, so you can't really put the garage on that side of the house, but there is a second well on the property as well, isn't there?
There is.
Can you point out on that map where that well is? I'm not finding it on this one. Is that in that nowhere land?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is well, I believe what you can see right there is my LP tank.
Yep.
That will be moved also if the garage were to go in, and it'll get tucked behind the garage over on the north.
But that second well is in that area.
It is right next to it in there, yeah.
Okay. And that still is in use?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't use the well, they want you to fill it or use it or fill it, cap it.
Thank you, Clint. Okay, off we go. On to the questions. Question number 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance Comprehensive Plan? Marv.
I believe it is, from what I heard, and part of it is, if it wasn't for, we're talking about this, unowned piece of property the township basically is going to keep for right-of-way purposes, and they were okay with him infringing partial on that, it does align with the comp plan, in my opinion.
Thank you, Marv. Anybody else? Okay, question number 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Brent.
I believe so. He's looking to add a 26 by 24 garage. Seems reasonable. Doesn't meet the setback to the property line. However, with that discovery of the vacant land, the support of the township, the encroachment of that, I think that's a reasonable request that's been presented forward for us to review. And after the site visit, the vacating of that existing entrance or driveway, having that vacated and having it moved up, maybe offsets some of this as well, because it's going to be a benefit to the county for that intersection for many purposes to come in the future.
Thank you, Brent. Anybody else? Thank you. Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George?
Yes, it's very rural in nature, even though it is a residential area. It's a large lot. So yes, a garage addition will maintain the essential character of the neighborhood. Probably won't change anything, and everything should, I guess it probably won't be noticeable in a couple of years.
Thank you. Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Well, this is a unique application, actually, because I haven't seen one like this with that extra land that's in between there. One thing to look at, he has a 160,000 square foot lot. Talking with him at the site visit, he told us what that property was used for before. It was like an old campground, recreation, there was a swimming pool and all that stuff. And where the home is built, yes, on that big property, maybe if it was back a little bit or something like that, it would fit better, right? But they put it on the edge, and he told us about the tennis courts and all these things that was there. So that's the reasoning for that house being there. Okay, now reasonable, he's looking for a garage. So when we look for the practical difficulty here, I think with the way that definitely that piece of land between the road right away and his property is really unique. And I think that's probably the biggest practical difficulty, because if that wasn't in there, and if you would have set the road down the middle just like you would, there still would have been enough room in between there and the road right away, with its property. But I think with, there's other factors. When you got that well where it is, the sewer, to put it on the other side of so that would be to the east side of the house, that wouldn't be very practical at all, with the sewer system kind of being right in between. So it kind of helps. It don't help, it kind of hurts that with that sewer being where it is, you can't really put anything on the north side or the east side. And with the well and the sewer, definitely not on the north side. So where he's proposing this, I think, the practical difficulty to me is more than one thing. It has to do with the well, the sewer, and that land that divides in there that's really unique. So that's where I'd kind of come up with my practical difficulty for this one, and that's kind of what the applicant has alluded to.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else? Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Thank you to the township representative for coming up in his public comment and taking the credit for that one and answering that question for the group here. Okay, question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
I believe it does. First, before when he came up here the last time and applied for this variance, there was no survey being done, and there was a lot of unknowns. Went through the process of working with the township and discovering where the property lines were, and giving it thought that snow removal of the driveway will offset, mitigate some of this, and it'll help with the township with snow removal, also safety reasonings, pulling out. So, he's considering much more in economic considerations here.
Thank you, Marv. Anybody want to add? Okay, we were going to go to and move this to the vote on the questions. Any conditions? Okay. Thank you. Okay, question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. That puts all questions answered in the affirmative. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve this variance.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Marvin and seconded by Clint to approve this variance. And if we can do a quick vote, Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Marv?
Aye.
Clint?
Aye.
John is aye. Based on these findings in the vote, your variance is approved, and work with staff as you need to moving ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for working with Land Services and Township, going through it. It wasn't easy, but you,
Back when we did this the first time, it was during COVID. and
Yeah.
We were on the telephone.
Yeah.
yep.
It's a different thing.
Yes, it was. Different times at that, so.
Okay. So now I just have to go see for a permit?
Yep, now you're just gonna get your permit.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Have a great evening.
You also.
Okay, that's the agenda, and we are moving on to the minutes. Questions on the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
The motion is made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Minutes approved. Old business, new business?
Mr. Chair, I don't have old or new business.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Oh.
I'd make,
Maybe make a note that we will have the October 1st.
Yep, we don't, so just for the October 1st meeting, we don't have agenda items, but we are going to still meet just to discuss anything that you need or want clarified or to look back on. I will invite the county board as well.
That'd be good.
Okay. Perfect.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Brent. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Meeting ended 7:20.